Welcome to the Dutton Homestead. I have been studying and researching herbs for off and on decades, but more recently in the last year, more seriously been trying to do a deep dive. I grew some herbs last year. Some I was excited to find out that they're perennials, and they came back this year and I didn't even have to do anything. That was cool. And I planted many other medicinal herbs that may or may not make it because of my starting them too early. May have to reseed if I can find the seeds at this point in the game. Many people don't realize that things that we consider weeds are actually herbs. Many have very strong medicinal properties. One of those is dandelions. And it's important when you're foraging herbs, mushrooms, anything that you're foraging, you do not want to be foraging things that might have pesticides on them. It totally defeats the purpose of why you might be picking them in the first place. I picked enough to make a half gallon of dandelion tea this weekend, and it's 4 days later, and I think I'll have enough to do another half gallon today. When you're making dandelion tea, you can either use the flowers or you can use the leaves. The leaves can be bitter, so I'm opting for just using the flowers. The leaves people eat in salads. I have not yet. They can be bitter is kind of like throwing me back. The dandelion plant, you can eat every part of. You can eat the flowers, the stems, you can eat the roots, you can eat the leaves. Last week, I spent some time digging up, that's what the holes are in the garden, digging up dandelion roots. Dandelion roots that I dug up are now soaking in vodka to make a dandelion tincture. Fun fact, dandelion roots can go 15 feet down. I did not pull up a 15-foot because I'd get to like 6 or 8 inches and they'd break off, which means they'll probably come back. Isn't it kind of fascinating how you can try really hard to grow something and you just can't do it, but then something you didn't plant just starts growing in the pavement in the middle of your driveway? It's a pretty good haul for today. We'll work with that. First thing I'm going to do with these is I'm going to soak them in vinegar. That is to get rid of any insects that might be on them. Ants. You're going to find ants no matter what state you live on. Are probably going to be on your dandelions. I also noticed there were a lot of pollinators that were on them, and if I found a pollinator on a dandelion, I just left it alone. Walked to the next one. While the dandelion flowers are soaking in the apple cider vinegar, I thought I'd come down by the chickens and hopefully they won't talk over me. And explain why I picked dandelions as being one of the first things that I wanted to dive into. One of the reasons is that it doesn't cost me anything. They grow everywhere. And as I had said earlier, it is important to be picking them where you do not believe that there are pesticides been used on them. So I would be leery to pick them on the side of the road just because I know at least down here they spray pesticides from the road to kill back brush. They're pretty pesticide heavy down here. So we grow organic, but we can't ever say that we're certified organic because there are pesticides. We're just doing the best we can. to not put it in ourselves. So, number one, they don't cost anything. Number two, another reason is that it was this time last year, and this is probably the most important reason, that my mom got sick. I mentioned that in a previous video, I believe. And in fact, this past Tuesday, one of my Facebook memories came up. I was in the emergency room with her, and that was the beginning of 10 weeks of her being in and out of the hospital for like a week at a time. She was, the last time was the 4th time she was in the hospital, and she was there for 2 days, and she passed away in the hospital. My mom was very healthy until she wasn't. She was very active until she wasn't. She was 75 years old. She loved to go shopping. She was such a social person, such a relationship person. Back home, she had couples that she would go out and do things with. She had special girlfriends that she would do things with. She was very active. We moved down here, and I probably got her down here. We came down in January. Rick and I went back up to get my parents in March, and it was probably a week later that the whole world got grounded by the powers that be. Made it hard for her. It was really hard for her. She was texting and calling her friends, but I know she was lonely. And eventually, like a year and a half later, we did find a church that we all liked. And so she had started going to that. December 2021, she went to the doctors for her normal yearly stuff, blood work and all that stuff, and she was perfectly healthy. Now, I'm not trying to say that like she was the poster girl for 75-year-old fitness woman. She was on the same kind of medications that a lot of people her age are on, the high blood pressure. I believe she was on cholesterol. She didn't have diabetes, which was a shocker because she was a junk food junkie. She was not a bit overweight. But her blood work came back. Everything was fine. She started not feeling good in February. She started feeling like she had pulled something in her stomach. Like she had reached when she was cleaning the bathtub or something. Like she reached and pulled something. So the first thing she had me find for her was a chiropractor. And we went to that, and that was a horrible experience for her. You know, not all chiropractors are created equal. I've had some that have really hurt me before too, and others that were like amazing. That wasn't a good experience, or she did not want to go back. She went back to her doctor, and she got some more blood work done. And through a series of unfortunate events, her doctor leaving the practice, we didn't get the results back in a timely manner, and she was degrading very quickly. The person that we made an appointment with, the person that was taking over her doctors, and he redid her blood, and her bad liver levels were off the charts. And she was soon diagnosed after her first hospital visit because she had a stroke at that doctor's appointment. My son had brought her because I was with the kids. I only had Charlie at that time. My son had brought her, and when they were leaving, she had started to have a stroke. And they sent ambulance over, and she was admitted into the hospital, and we were there all night long. And she was admitted. The first thing that they said to her is she was dehydrated, and I remember we were probably there 14 hours before she got any fluids, which totally didn't make any sense to me at all. She couldn't keep anything down. She had no desire to eat anything. I couldn't get anything into her during the times that she was home for those 10 weeks off and on when she was home. She was diagnosed with non-alcoholic liver disease. My mom was not a drinker. So her liver was like destroyed. And after like the second hospital visit, numerous tests. We're talking MRIs and ultrasounds and blood, and just they put her through the ringer. They came up with that she had a tumor, and it was an inoperable tumor. When they first said liver disease, I was concerned, obviously, because she was hurting. She was hurting and she was miserable. But I know that the liver is one of the few organs that can regenerate itself pretty quickly. I immediately dove in and started looking at herbs, knowing that whatever they were going to give her was going to cause her other problems. So if I could ease her symptoms, if I could fix what was wrong with stuff that God gave us, then I wanted a shot at that. One of the first things that came up was dandelions. I'm going to read you what I found on dandelions when I first started researching. Now I'm sure I'll probably massacre this next word, but it says the polysaccharides in dandelions are known to reduce stress on the liver and support the ability to produce bile. When your liver is quitting on you, it can't produce the bile, and then that backs up and affects your gallbladder and then your kidneys, and then everything just shuts down. Dandelions are high in vitamin C and vitamin A, both which give your immune system a boost and help your eyesight, and also high in vitamin K, which supports bone health and can help with blood clotting. So overall, dandelions is a pretty healthy. You can eat any part of it. You can eat the flowers, you can eat the leaves, you can eat the roots, and you should. I knew that after moving down here and spending more time with my mom than what I had back home, because we lived a half an hour away, so I wasn't seeing her on a daily basis before we moved down here. And when somebody lives downstairs from you and you see them, several times a day, you pick up on their eating traits. And let's face it, junk food, it tastes good, but there are so many chemicals in it. Dandelions will help you process some of those chemicals out of your body that don't belong there. So when you have chemicals in your body and they don't process, they don't relieve themselves, you don't excrete them, that's when they sit there and they fester and they cause cancer. Always been a believer that God has provided everything that we need for our health right here on earth. We have either found them and screwed them up, or we just haven't found them yet. And I also believe that not all things work on all people. I believe that, I don't know for sure, but my thought is like blood typing. So someone has type A blood or someone has type O blood. The same herbs may not work for the same person. I don't know which would be which, but there have been studies that have been done with the pandemic that people that got the Kool-Aid thing worked with some people with a certain blood type and didn't, and some people were more fatalities with certain blood types. It's been all those studies have been done. I'm sure they haven't been published a whole lot because it wouldn't benefit people that make money in the pharmaceutical industry. So I figure, why not? Why not take advantage of what God's given us? Why not explore ways of keeping our health? The end of last summer, my mom's half-sister passed away. She also had like a liver dysfunction. She actually had a lot of different cancers, but she had a liver one, and when she found out that my mom was sick, she was adamant that it was possibility. She was told that what she had was a hereditary thing, and they shared a biological father. And so she wanted to know if that's what my mom had. And I asked different doctors, every hospital, every doctor, because you never saw the same. There was nobody that followed her from the beginning of the sickness till the day she took her last breath. There was always somebody different, because that's the way our healthcare is now. I never got a definitive answer. If any answer I did get about that particular question was, no, that's not it. I never got what caused this. So my belief is what caused this is the medications that she was on. If you look at the side effects for the medications for the blood pressure and cholesterol and all those other ones, I had a huge bag of prescriptions, and not all of them was she taking. I think she was only taking a handful of them. I'm trying to think of the other things that she was taking them for. It would be typical of what people would be taking for. The aspirin, daily and all that stuff. All those things will cause issues with your liver, among other things, but your liver is always mentioned. Put on top of that she loves soda. I love soda. She loves soda. Potato chips, ice cream. I mean, you were more likely to find her eating junk food than a square meal. And I don't believe she was always like that. I don't remember her always being like that. I don't remember that much junk food being in the house growing up. But as she's gotten older, she got a sweet tooth. So that's why herbs, studying herbs is important to me. If there is a chance that this is a hereditary thing, something that's passed down, then that's going to mean that I am at risk, and my children are at risk, and my grandchildren are at risk. My cousins are at risk. So if I can do something to head off something that is supposed to be inevitable, and if it's drinking dandelion tea, then I'm going to do it. If I had enough dandelions, I might try making some dandelion wine. I think that would be fun to try and do. Not that I've ever tasted it, so I don't know if it'd be any good, but it's always fun to try something once. The elixir that I made out of the roots a week and a half ago or so, that I plan to put in tea at night. I put ginger root extract in chamomile tea along with some honey. I'll put cayenne extract in hot chocolate, sometimes in my coffee. Cayenne, it has vitamin C, and it's a natural antibiotic and helps your immune system. And the ginger is an anti-inflammatory. Also, I've given ginger root extract to some friends of mine that have arthritis bad, and they seem to like it. They continue to take it. If something doesn't work, you don't continue to take it. So that's an indication, and it does make a difference with me too. Like, I wish that I would start paying attention, knowing that a storm system's coming through, and start taking it before and see if I could avoid the pain altogether. But I haven't been swift enough to catch up with that yet. Some precautions with the dandelion tea is that if you have hay fever or you're allergic to ragweed, you should avoid dandelion tea. I do have ragweed allergies and hay fever and everything airborne allergies, and I'm going to take it. I'm not going to drink it every day, but for me, I think the benefits outweigh the risks. I have not had clear sinuses since I've moved down here. I don't expect to. It's everything. There's always something growing down here. I would get some relief, at least for a couple months in New Hampshire. That's not the case here. I will keep searching out herbs that will help me with my allergies. I've been taking homegrown honey for 2 years now. That hasn't helped a whole lot, but it's got me off the refined sugar, so that's cool. And eventually maybe it'll build up an immunity to what's going on with my allergies. I've always had allergies, so I don't expect them to all of a sudden go away. It would be neat to find a fix. So I had dandelion tea last night. I probably won't have it tonight, maybe once over the weekend. I'm gonna have it because I think that a good liver cleanse is a good idea, and it's free. and it also it helps with a lot of other, with your liver, I mean your whole digestive tract, and with my husband Rick having issues with that, it can be helpful to him too. So now we'll go in and we will finish making the dandelion tea. The dandelions have soaked in the apple cider vinegar, thoroughly rinsed them off. Some people, I guess, take the green part of the flower off. I have not. I haven't detected it being bitter, and before anybody asks, I don't taste the residual apple cider vinegar from it soaking. Now I just pour the boiling water over the flowers. And I'm going to let that steep, for about an hour or so. I don't know if there's any magic time for that. The dandelions have steeped for some time now, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to strain into another pan. Then I'm going to take a potato masher and just kind of like squeeze out more juices from the dandelions. Can't really see what I'm doing, but so I'm just kind of like squeezing out the juices from the dandelions so I can get more of the essential nutrients out of it. I will feed these flowers now. I'll go out and give them to the chickens. Then I'm going to pour it into this little strainer thing. These are so convenient. So this is a sink strainer. Yeah, I think I got this at Walmart or Amazon. I don't know. I've seen them both places. Just for a couple bucks. They are awesome. They fit perfect onto the wide mouth jars. They work perfect as a strainer. So I don't think I need this funnel, but we'll see. Then I'm going to go ahead and pour it into the funnel just to like the strainer, just to like double strain it. It doesn't seem to have really needed to though. And I got a perfect half gallon, which is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and put a cover on it and put it in the fridge. And it'll be good in the fridge either as an iced tea, or I like to warm it up and have a beverage at night. So so a hot tea, if you want to warm it up, you can keep it in the fridge just like as long as you would any other tea. So I don't know, a week, 10 days or so. You can add other herbs to it. Like I said, I add ginger to it and honey. And what I do is I steep my chamomile tea bag, because I haven't gotten any chamomile growing yet, in this when it's hot. So I'm just getting like a double bang for my buck. Thank you for joining me today while I was making dandelion tea. I'm trying to convert myself from being an avid coffee drinker to being a tea drinker, because tea is better for you. Hit like and subscribe if you like what you saw, or if you want to see some more content. Help support our channel. Be a blessing and be blessed.